Hey everyone, welcome back.
Yeah.
We've been diving deep into all this research about art and tech.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind-blowing stuff. I'm excited to dig into it all with you.
Well, it's a really fascinating field. It's always changing and pushing boundaries and blurring lines.
Totally. And the 13th ArtsIT International Conference on Arts and Technology, Interactivity, and Game Creation.
Yeah.
I was in Abu Dhabi last month. It seemed like it was just like a hub of,
yeah.
all this cutting-edge stuff.
Definitely a hotbed.
Yeah, and it was put together by the European Alliance for Innovation,
Right.
EAI. They hosted it in New York University, Abu Dhabi. They brought together experts from all over the world. We've got Professor Anthony Lewis Brooks kind of steering the ship as the conference chair.
Yeah.
And then Professor Domna Banaku at NYU leading all the organization.
Yeah, it was a really impressive lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. A real powerhouse team.
And the topics were so diverse, it shows you how much art and technology are woven together these days.
Yeah, shaping the whole cultural landscape.
Absolutely everything from AI's role in music education to using virtual reality to explore human emotions. It was all there.
Wow. Okay, so let's dive into some specifics, right? There was this one paper that really caught my eye. It's called Human-Centered LLM Agent User Interface, a position paper. And it's all about using large language models, or LLMs, to create personalized learning experiences.
Okay, so imagine you're trying to learn the flute, and you're hitting those high notes, and it feels impossible.
Oh, yeah.
You just wish you had a teacher right there to guide you.
Yeah.
Well, these researchers, they might have the answer.
So like a virtual flute teacher.
Yeah, they actually made a system called Flute XGPT, where an LLM becomes like your AI music tutor.
Wow.
And what's crazy is it doesn't just give you pre-recorded lessons, it actually gives you feedback as you play in real time.
Hold on. It analyzes your playing. It gives you instant feedback.
It's exactly like having a personal coach inside your flute.
That's insane.
It combines sensors and algorithms to understand your technique and then gives you feedback through visuals, audio cues, even haptic sensations through special gloves.
What?
It's like the AI is guiding your fingers.
Wow. So could this kind of real-time AI feedback change how we learn instruments? I mean, could it make music education more accessible and personalized for everyone?
It's a really good question, and it makes you think about the role of human music teachers in the future. Would this replace them, or would it free them up to focus on other aspects of musicality?
That's such a good point, expression and creativity and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about museums. There's this paper called Generative AI in Museums, Design Concepts for an Accessible Digital Mediation Station for a Renaissance Altar. It sounds like they're using AI to bring historical art to life.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
The Staatliches Museum Schwerin in Germany, they have this amazing Renaissance sandstone altar, but the Christian symbolism isn't so clear to everyone.
Right, yeah. You don't want people just walking by and not getting the deeper meaning.
Exactly. So the researchers came up with this concept for a digital station using AI to offer different interpretations.
Okay.
So you can stand in front of this centuries-old altar and access visuals that bring the stories in the carvings to life.
Wow, that's amazing.
They even want to include AI-generated audio so you can listen to biblical stories rewritten in different genres like a drama, a comedy, even sci-fi, all tailored to different learning styles.
Wow, that's so creative, like choosing your own adventure through art history.
Exactly. And it makes you think, could AI personalize museum experiences even further in the future? What if it could learn about your interests and tailor everything to you?
Oh, I love that idea, like having your own personal art historian.
Right.
Okay, so there was another paper that caught my eye. It's called Research on the Effects of Art and Technology Integration in STEAM Education on Students' Emotional Development and Social-Emotional Learning. Sounds like it's all about the emotional side of things.
This research really digs into STEAM education. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and how integrating art and technology can help students emotionally and socially.
So we're finally admitting that emotional intelligence matters in education.
Yeah, it's not just about robots and numbers anymore.
Right.
Emotional intelligence and social skills are so important for success in life, and STEAM education can help with that.
Yeah, because when students are working on creative projects with art and tech, they're not just learning technical skills, they're learning to work together and communicate and express themselves.
Exactly, and those are essential skills for everything.
Makes you think, how can we integrate art and tech better to help kids emotionally?
Well, the researchers suggest hands-on projects that let students experiment and create using art and tech like digital storytelling, interactive art installations, or even designing their own video games.
Those sound awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see more of that in schools.
Yeah, and it's not just for kids. Adults can benefit too. There are so many ways to be creative with art and tech.
Totally, learning shouldn't stop when you finish school.
Right.
Okay, this next paper, it's about live coding. The title is Live Coding and the Power of Performing Arts for Joyful Learning in STEAM Education.
This one argues that live coding is about more than just teaching code. It's about letting students express themselves artistically through code.
So like a concert where the musician is writing code that makes music in real time.
Exactly. And the audience sees the code and hears how it shapes the music. It's a really cool experience.
I bet, and it makes coding seem more creative and accessible, especially for students who might not be into computer science.
Exactly. Live coding is exciting and encourages collaboration and improvisation.
Could even become its own genre of performance art?
Maybe we're already seeing live coding events and festivals.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting fusion of tech, art, and performance.
I love it. Okay, so one paper really grabbed me with its title, Love in Action. Gamifying public video cameras. Sounds like they're taking those scary surveillance cameras and turning them into something positive.
Yeah, it's a unique approach. They designed a game called Love in Action that uses location-based gameplay to encourage players to interact with public cameras in good ways.
Okay, I'm curious. How do you play a game with a surveillance camera?
Players get social requests from other players asking them to do specific things in front of a camera.
Okay.
The actions are all about kindness, support, or humor.
So it's like a real-life public game of charades, but with the goal of spreading positivity.
Exactly. They believe that by prompting these playful interactions, they can strengthen social bonds and build a sense of community.
I love that it's like technology bringing people together instead of isolating them.
Right. It challenges our assumptions about technology.
Totally. Okay, this next one sounds right up my alley. It's called Ocean Pulse, integrating psychology, technology, and creative practice for transformative experiences.
This one's a beautiful blend of VR technology and psychology. They created these amazing VR environments inspired by the ocean with vibrant colors, bioluminescent creatures, and beautiful soundscapes.
Oh, wow. I feel more relaxed already just hearing you describe it.
It's designed to evoke feelings of awe and connectedness.
Like virtual meditation.
Yeah, they're researching how these experiences can promote relaxation and reduce stress.
It really changes how you think about VR. It's not just about escaping. It can be about connecting with something bigger than yourself.
And as the technology gets better, we might even see virtual spaces specifically for meditation and mindfulness.
That's a really cool idea. Okay, this next paper, it involves robots and dance. It's called Leader-Follower Human-Cobot Interaction in Dance, using motion capture.
This one introduces a new way for humans and robots to collaborate in dance.
Okay, so we usually think of robots leading the dance, right?
Yeah, but in this research, the robot follows.
Oh, that's interesting.
They use motion capture to track the human dancer's movements, and then a mobile robot with an arm mimics those movements, all while staying a safe distance.
That's so cool, like a technological dance duet.
Yeah, and makes you think about how this could be used beyond just art, like in physical therapy.
Yeah, I could see that, like a robot that could help patients with their movements.
Exactly. It shows how art and tech can have real-world applications.
And it changes our ideas about what robots can do. They're not just for factories anymore.
Right, they can be partners and collaborators.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive, but there's still so much more to explore.
Definitely, we've only scratched the surface. Welcome back. You know, it's amazing how this conference really emphasized preserving our digital heritage.
Yeah, especially with art.
Right. It's like we have this explosion of digital creativity, but how do we make sure future generations can see it?
Exactly, and that's where this next paper comes in. It's called Participatory Media Art Documentation, the relaunch of the Archive of Digital Art, ADA.
The Archive of Digital Art ADA is trying to tackle this problem, and they're doing it collaboratively.
Oh, cool.
They're working with artists, scholars, curators, institutions to create this comprehensive archive of digital art.
So it's not just storing files, it's capturing the whole story behind the art.
Exactly. ADA understands that digital art is always changing. Their goal is to document the entire journey of creation from beginning to end.
That's awesome, like creating a living history of digital art.
And they're using some really cool tools to do it. Interactive visualizations, semantic tagging. They even have a serendipity engine to help you discover unexpected connections within the archive.
The serendipity engine. That sounds amazing.
It's all about making these archives accessible to everyone, not just academics.
I love that it's like building bridges between the past, present, and future of digital art. Okay, this next paper sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. Creativity and visual communication in nonverbal musical games with robots.
This research explores how robots can be used in musical games, focusing on nonverbal communication.
So you're playing a musical game with a robot, but you're communicating through gestures and movements.
Exactly. They want to use robots to create more intuitive and expressive musical experiences.
That's really interesting.
It could be really helpful in music therapy or education. Imagine a robot that could help people learn music or express themselves, even if they can't speak.
It opens up so many possibilities.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on to a paper that looks at how music can bring cultures together. Increasing outgroup liking through narrative videos with background music.
This research looks at the power of music to affect our emotions and even our attitudes towards others.
Right.
They showed a group of non-immigrant students a video about an immigrant boy's experiences, some with music, some without.
I bet the music made a difference.
It did. The students who watched with music felt more empathy and had more positive attitudes towards immigrants.
That's powerful. It shows how music can connect with us emotionally.
Right. It could be used to promote tolerance and empathy in all sorts of programs.
Okay, this next paper sounds delicious. Making Besh Barmak.
Yeah.
Games for Central Asian Cultural Heritage.
This one introduces a cooking game called Making Besh Barmak that celebrates Central Asian culture.
Besh Barmak. What's that?
It's a traditional noodle dish with meat and broth, really important in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan.
So the game's like a virtual cooking class.
Exactly, and it teaches you about the cultural significance of the meal.
I love how it uses technology to preserve and celebrate culture.
Yeah, it's a great way to share traditions and maybe even inspire people to try making it themselves.
I'd definitely give it a try. Okay, let's jump into a paper that's all about pushing the boundaries of music technology. Multi-track music LDM. Towards high-fidelity generative music production.
This research uses latent diffusion models, LDMs, for multi-track music generation.
Okay.
LDMs are a type of AI that's already really good at creating images and text.
So they're using AI to compose music with different instruments and melodies.
Yes, like a virtual band.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Could this change how music is produced?
It could give musicians, producers, and composers new tools to explore their creativity.
What about songwriting? Will AI write all the hits now?
That's a good question. AI can create amazing music, but there's still something special about human emotion and expression.
Okay. I'm really interested in this next paper because it's about sound effects. I always think about how much sound design can change how we experience something. The title is Sound Effects in Media, a comparative analysis of user perceptions and preferences.
This research looks at how we perceive sound effects based on the type of media, the genre, and our own experiences.
So a scary sound in a horror movie might feel different in a comedy.
Exactly. Context is everything. The researchers play different sound effects for people and ask them about their emotional responses.
What did they learn?
Some sounds trigger stronger emotions than others, and it's very subjective. They also found that how well a sound effect is integrated into the overall soundscape makes a big difference.
It makes you appreciate the skill of those sound designers.
As technology gets better, they have even more tools to create immersive soundscapes.
Okay, let's switch to a paper that explores how technology can bring new life to traditional art forms, exploring adaptability of miniature painting through interactive platforms using animation and augmented reality.
This research focuses on Indian miniature painting and uses animation and AR to make it more accessible.
So they're making the paintings come alive.
Yes, they created an animation based on paintings of the 12 months of the year, and then you can experience it through AR.
That's amazing, like stepping into the world of the painting.
It's a great example of how technology can connect traditional art with modern audiences.
It makes you wonder, will we see more traditional art reimagined through digital media?
It's definitely possible, and it opens up exciting new ways to experience art. Okay, this next paper uses virtual reality to explore loneliness, solace, integrating Western and Arab poetic traditions in VR to convey loneliness.
Using poetry in VR, that's a unique approach.
They wanted to create an experience that evokes the feeling of loneliness using visuals and a poetic narrative.
Sounds powerful.
It could be a new way to explore complex emotions and share personal stories.
Okay, this next one is about teaching and learning in virtual environments. A teacher's perception of the use of immersive web environments in English as a foreign language class.
This research looks at using virtual reality to teach English as a foreign language.
Using VR to teach English? That's cool.
The researchers wanted to see if it could make students more engaged, and the teacher said it was very effective.
I bet learning a new language in VR would be amazing, like being in another country.
The teacher said the students loved it and found it more fun than traditional methods.
That's great, and VR could make learning more accessible for everyone.
Imagine learning history by visiting ancient civilizations or studying biology inside the human body.
Wow, okay. This next paper is about using VR for mental health. Adaptive virtual reality meditation for adults with ADHD.
This research is about personalized meditation in VR that adapts to the user.
Like a VR meditation app that knows when you get distracted.
Yeah, they use eye tracking to monitor the user's attention, and if they get distracted, the app can help them refocus.
So it's like having a personal meditation coach.
Exactly. It's a great example of how technology can make therapy more effective.
This next paper focuses on helping people with locked-in syndrome communicate. It's called Challenges and Opportunities for Interaction Design to Support Artistic Expression in Persons with Locked-in Syndrome.
This research is about helping people with locked-in syndrome, LIS, communicate.
LIS is a really tough condition where you're conscious but can't move or speak.
Right, and this research is about giving them a voice through technology.
So they can express themselves and connect with others.
Exactly. They're looking at things like brain-computer interfaces and eye tracking systems.
It's amazing how technology can help people overcome those barriers.
It challenges us to think differently about disability and accessibility.
Okay, before we move on, I want to make sure we talk about this paper on shadows in virtual reality. It's called Exploring Everyday Environments, Shadow Display Concepts in Immersive VR.
This one looks at how shadows can actually improve VR experiences.
We don't usually think about shadows, but they're important for making VR feel real.
Right, the researchers tested different ways to display shadows in VR, some realistic, some more stylized. It shows that even small details can make a big difference in VR.
Okay, this next paper is about something we all experience online. A study on reducing communication-bound apprehension in web meetings using facial expression deformation.
This research tries to make online communication less stressful.
Okay.
They use technology to subtly change people's facial expressions in web meetings to make them look more positive.
So if you were frowning, it would make you look like you were smiling.
Exactly, and they found that it made people feel less anxious.
Wow. But would people notice?
But changes were very subtle. People didn't realize it was happening.
That's wild, like a mood booster for online meetings.
Okay.
Let's finish with a paper about educational games. E.N. Joinen, Exploring Inclusive Visual Design and Narrative Elements in Educational Games.
This research focuses on making educational games that are visually engaging and inclusive.
Yeah, games can be great for learning, but they have to be well designed.
Right, they're looking at how to use character design, color, and art style to make games that appeal to everyone.
And using storytelling to make learning more fun.
Exactly, learning should be enjoyable.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot in this second part of our deep dive. What are your thoughts on all this?
It's really amazing to see how technology is changing, how we create and experience art, and how we preserve it and use it to teach and explore emotions.
Yeah, we've seen so much AI robots, VR, even sound effects, and it's all happening at the intersection of art and technology.
And we're only just getting started.
We've talked about so many cool ways that art and tech are coming together, but there's this one big thing we need to talk about. Ethics. This last paper really gets into that. Ethics and artificial intelligence for creative applications. A framework for responsible innovation.
Yeah, it's a conversation we can't avoid.
Right.
AI is so powerful in creative fields like music, art, writing, design, but we need to be responsible.
Okay, so what kind of risks are we talking about?
Well, one big one is bias. AI algorithms are trained on huge data sets, and if that data is biased, the AI will be biased too.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you feed the AI bad information, it's going to give you bad results.
Exactly, and that can lead to problems in things like hiring loans, even the justice system.
That's scary.
So we have to be careful about the data we use, and we need ways to find and fix bias.
Okay, so what else do they talk about?
Transparency and accountability are important too. AI can be really complicated, so it's hard to understand how it makes decisions.
It's like a black box. You don't know what's going on inside.
Right, so if AI makes a mistake, it's hard to know why or who's responsible.
That's a good point.
So researchers are trying to make AI more explainable so we can see how it works.
Okay, so a lot of people worry that AI is going to replace artists and other creative people. Did the paper talk about that?
They did, and they said we should think of AI as a collaborator, not a replacement.
All right.
Think about photography. It didn't replace painting. It became its own art form.
Yeah.
AI will probably change how we create, but it won't get rid of human creativity.
So we should focus on how to work with AI to be even more creative.
Exactly. AI can be a tool to help us explore new ideas and push boundaries.
Okay, so how do we move forward responsibly? What are some solutions?
The paper says we need to work together, people from different fields like ethics, social science, art, and technology.
Yeah, everyone needs to be involved.
We need ethical guidelines for AI transparency and accountability, and we need to talk about these issues as a society.
It's a responsibility we all share.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a really amazing deep dive. It's incredible to see all these ways that art and technology are shaping our world and ourselves.
Yeah, it's inspiring, and it's just the beginning.
We've learned about so much, from AI music tutors and robot dancers to VR meditation and games that teach us about different cultures.
It's clear that art and technology are a powerful combination.
And we have to remember the ethical side of things, too. We need to be thoughtful about how we develop and use these technologies.
It's up to us to make sure technology serves humanity.
Thank you for joining us on this journey, exploring the world of art and technology. We hope you've learned something new and maybe even feel inspired to create something yourself. The future is happening now. It's exciting to be a part of it.